You can support this podcast and get shows early and ad-free, as well as bonus episodes over at patreon.com/flashback64. Everyone, welcome to another episode of Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. I'm Gooey, joined as always by McKenna.
Hello.
And, well, I said we're the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast, but as many listeners know, we've mostly been going through the Nintendo 64 library from the North American releases. And but we've always wanted to, get our hands on any games that didn't come out in the region and talk about them. And this is our first time doing it, so I'm pretty excited about it. Talking about Wonder Project J2, and we have a perfect guest for this topic. Joining us for the first time from Japan Retro Direct, we have Vinnk. Vinnk, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, happy to be here. Happy to spoil your chronology. So,
I view it more as like enhancing it, because there is a lot of talk on online and stuff, like a lot of discourse about people covering gaming history from like just the North American perspective, and I don't. My ultimate goal I'd like is to, for anyone listening, like kind of encourage them to reach out and look at other games from other regions and stuff like that. So no, that's not great. Spoiling the chronology at all.
Oh, that's good. If not, you can consider me somewhat of a side story, like a
well, hopefully this is the start of many more, because there are some, a lot of well, I guess before we even go into it more, maybe you should tell our listeners more about Japan Retro Direct and what you do.
Okay. I guess, yeah, that would be how you know me. I run an online gaming shop in Japan called Japan Retro Direct, which I used to run a store called Rising Stuff, which I thought was super clever because land of the rising sun, land of the rising stuff. But it was just very confusing to customers. So when I relaunched, I'm like, we're going Japan Retro Direct. Very, very straightforward. But I regret it now because it's the most boring name possible. But I've been doing this site for maybe 5 or 6 years now as kind of just it's a side business. It's not my, thank goodness, because things have gotten really bad for the store recently with the tariffs and the Japan Post not shipping to America anymore. So I have to go through third-party companies to get things to Americans these days. So it's complicated, but it's fun. It's fun. I what you were talking about before, letting people find out the treasures and hidden games that they never would have experienced otherwise. I see it as a passion project and a labor of love, but I'm so glad it's not my job. I've been YouTubing and podcasting with the team of Famicom Dojo for about 20 years now. And
amazing.
Yeah, we were, in the early days of YouTube, when before YouTube had ads and when videos were limited in length to 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, it was a very different, and we kind of achieved, fame is the wrong word, but people had heard of us. We were but then, we both had started families and had kids, and the output went down. And now if you're not producing things every single day, you can't keep up with the algorithms anymore. So that's what I would be known for. So Famicom Dojo, and where we tried to do a history of retro games in Japan before everyone else did it. But like now it's more like now we just cover the stuff that interests us because there's so many people who do the full histories,
Well, you were pioneers for your time.
It's funny because I have people that who invite me to their podcasts that like, yeah, I was listening to you when I was in elementary school, and I'm like, oh, please don't say that. Just like,
Wow.
don't say that, because yeah, you guys inspired me to do this, like, yeah, we used to talk about it on the playground. I'm like, no, don't.
People are talking about like these old games and stuff. Like it's a lot of like nostalgia is involved, and it's like, it's one thing like for us we were talking about like the Nintendo 64 a console we're nostalgic for from when we were kids, but now it's weird to have like these things that you look back on and have like history and nostalgia with that you did when you were an adult, and it's like,
yep.
There's a weird feeling about that. I guess that's that's just something that comes along with middle age, I guess.
Exactly. One of my students was telling me that he was into retro games, and I was like, oh, cool. What do you have? And he's like, I got a PlayStation 3. And I'm like, no. No.
There was like a YouTube video that I got recommended. It was the other day. It must have been hitting the algorithm hard, but it was like, the nostalgia of Nintendo Land for the Wii U. I was like, whoa,
no,
crazy.
No, because Nintendo Land was basically made of nostalgia for earlier systems, so like,
yeah,
that's recursive nostalgia. So
okay. But yeah, Japan Retro Direct, very cool. Sure. Like, I mean, so many people that we know, like that's how I found out, was because all the time, like getting our friend Nick or Andrew always posting online, getting big hauls from it, and it's cool. It's a great service you do, despite all the issues you've had to deal with.
Your guest list and my customer list have a lot of overlap. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah.
If you want to send some more our way, that would help us out a lot.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were talking about you wanted to run a code for our listeners.
I was thinking that might be fun. Like, I don't want to step on anybody's feet, but what I was thinking is like, I have the ability to run coupons from codes. And so I thought it would be fun to see, how many people listen to this and maybe got inspired to even pick up a copy of Wonder Project J2. Oh, I've got both actually, J and J2. But like, I'm thinking the code will be Flashback 64.
Perfect.
And you just go there, and when you check out, you do that, and it'll be 10% off store-wide, which is a better deal than I normally run. But like, I'm hoping it doesn't just someone doesn't just put the link up, but like, hopefully. So if you're listening to this, like, you're the special people. So
I hope keep that someone link. Does like that, because we don't have a ton of listeners, but I hope we can do something here. I think it would be cool.
It'd be cool.
Hopefully I feel like this game could convince this. Hopefully, if we do a good job selling it, convince people. Right. We usually, with our first time guests, we also like to ask, like, what's your history with the Nintendo 64 specifically? Right.
Can I be controversial here?
Maybe, because we have run the gamut of all different opinions on the console, so it could be a hot take. It might not be.
Okay, I'm gonna. Let me go for the hottest take I can go with.
Okay.
The N64 almost drove me away from playing video games.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
Maybe that take was a little too hot, but like, I should have.
So spicy. Okay.
So spicy.
What happened?
Well, basically, I grew up with games. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up with the NES and the Super NES, and my favorite genres were definitely RPGs, platform games, that kind of stuff. I definitely would consider myself more of a fan of like 2D and stuff like that as well. Story based, I loved the Dragon Quests and the Final Fantasies. And when the N64 was announced, they were going to have Final Fantasy VII on it. Enix was on board. There's going to be some Dragon Quests, probably things like that. And of course, like, I got it the first year it was out. I got that for Christmas, and that N64 kid video, that could have been me. Like we were, I was so hyped. Played Killer Instinct in the arcades, played Cruisin' USA in the arcades, believing that would be the experience that I would get.
Yeah.
From the console. And my first impressions were fantastic. Like Mario 64 is and remains a classic and always will be. And I had a lot of fun playing Wave Race, some of those early games with friends. But at the time I was always waiting for my type of games to drop.
Sure.
And so the system was there, and I really wasn't buying many games for it. I think I had Mario 64. We had Cruisin' USA, even though it was disappointing compared to the arcade version.
Certainly,
it was still, and we had James Bond, which was great. We people just refer to GoldenEye as Bond, and it kept going on, and and this is my fault. I got myself hyped up for the first RPG on the system, and one of the only RPGs on the system was Quest 64.
This is perfect because we are currently in the middle of playing it, and we're approaching that episode.
All right,
and that's exactly right. We have not played a single game in our chronology that I would categorize as an RPG.
Well, I need to give it another shot. I really do. I realize that now, but it immediately left the impression of not what I was looking for, because, I was seeing what was on the PlayStation. They had Final Fantasy VII, which they sent me a VHS tape as a preview of it. I got it. I don't know why. I must have been on some mailing list, and I was looking and I'm like, that's okay. Quest 64 will save me. It's and so I went off to college, and the N64 was my brother's and mine. We'd gotten it as a joint Christmas present because we were not, from a very wealthy family, So, when I went off to college, I'm like, you keep it. Because I stopped console gaming for a while. I played some, I was off at college, making a life, and I had a computer, and I'm like, maybe computer gaming is what I do now.
Did you get into that?
A little bit, but I don't know. I was getting into being a college student. You know what I mean? It was that time. But what was interesting was I got to know some of the Japanese exchange students at the school, and they introduced me to Saturn import games.
All right. Okay.
And I was back on, but because that was kind of the type of games that I wanted. They had RPGs, they had a lot of anime type games, they had a lot of shooters and 2D and things like that. And so I started getting into import games. And then I did actually start importing N64 games. I bought myself another N64. I got Evangelion 64, which I'd love to talk about sometime as well.
Sure. Yeah, that was if this goes great, I feel like you could be our ambassador of so many import games.
But at the time, but I feel bad now because since I didn't wait longer, there would have been games on the N64 which I've come back to play now, that would have been my cup of tea. Ogre Battle, Paper Mario. I did Mischief Makers and things like that. There were definitely, but I abandoned ship before playing Banjo-Kazooie. I abandoned ship before playing, a lot of the games that would go, I abandoned ship before Smash. So a lot of the games that I would have liked from genres that are closer to my interest, they just weren't there at the beginning. And had I been more into first person shooters or racing games or things like that, I think I would have found a lot to love on the system. But I was waiting for the type of games that I'd been playing from the previous era, so.
No, it's understandable. We haven't exactly experienced the library in real time, but we've gone chronologically, and there's certainly a lot of gaps of there's a lot of games we've played, right, McKenna, that were like, oh, this is
Mhm.
interesting or this is fun. But there are a lot of gaps of games that you would be like, this is a system seller or whatever. This is a killer
Yeah.
app. Smash is one of those games that came later, but pretty much every other like iconic multiplayer Nintendo 64 game was released like in the first year, and and then it's like, I guess what's next,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It was, Star Fox got released early on, and but the thing is that's the thing. Nintendo really was moving towards these 3D multiplayer experiences. So like the type of like story-based 2D experiences were just not there, except possibly for the game we're going to talk about today.
When we get into the game, we can discuss it, but some of the like reviews I read from the time didn't look on this game as fondly, particularly some of the US reviews, because I feel like it was because they were like, oh, the graphics aren't that spectacular. And it's like, we'll talk about it. But I mean, I feel like this is a nice game to look at in most regards.
It's funny because it's aged so much better than so many other games. Like it's my first experience with this game was I was a subscriber to Nintendo Power. So it's one of the ones that they covered in their RPG corner before they discontinued that because they stopped having RPGs on the system. But like they were covering this, and I was like, Wonder Project J2. There must have been a first one. Like I didn't know anything about it, but I looked at the game and I'm like, I really want to play that. And that kept with me. So when I moved to Japan, it's one of the first games I bought.
That's awesome because you were importing games, but now you're importing games.
That's right.
So it's all come full circle.
I'm trying to provide the service but like importing games back then was really hard. It was difficult. You had to deal. eBay was in its infancy, and it was a different era. So like I want to make it easier, and plus like it was hard to find out any information about anything to know if you were even getting something that you'd want to play. So the internet has done a lot to make that information available to everyone, but there's still games that things like what you're doing, documenting this is great. You know what I mean? Like we are providing a service.
I'd like to think we're doing a little bit more than just waxing nostalgic,
Exactly.
Like that's the goal. Well, especially in a lot of cases, like this game is totally new for us, but a lot of the games are new for me, and I would say like 90% of the games are new for you, McKenna. So
probably like 99% of the games are new for me.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring on people with the history, but also give like, I don't know, a fresh take maybe. So we'll see. We'll save. I want to tease Quest 64, but maybe we can hold off on that for now. I have like a mini flashback segment. We're not going in our normal chronology, but I did want to point out that this game released in Japan November 22nd, 1996. The N64 launch in Japan was in June 23rd, 1996. The same launch titles as America, I believe. North America, Mario, Pilot Wings. Then Wave Race came September 27th.
Yep.
And the US N64 launch was late September, around that time. I don't have as much of like what was actually going on at the time as I have in previous episodes, but I can tell you that the number one song at the time in Japan was Can't Stop Falling in Love by Globe. Vinnk, Are you familiar? You know the song? I listened to it the other day. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I'm somewhat familiar with, because I was I wasn't in Japan at that time, but like I was there. I started in 2001, so like I'm not that far off from when I first came to Japan. The current system was the N64.
Oh, right on. So
because I was there for the launch of the GameCube.
Oh, so, awesome.
So like it was the current system. But yeah, I know Globe. I know that like Morning Musume was getting its start around that same time. I know that Speed was popular. Sorry, the name of the band is called Speed, not the drug, but I don't know. Maybe that was popular.
I was thinking
it was
the Keanu
90s,
Reeves movie.
Oh, You know what? That was also popular. 90, yeah, around that, a little couple of years earlier.
That had to be a worldwide sensation.
I'm saying speed, but actually they pronounced it speedo. But I don't want to. I don't.
That's
so,
all. Yeah. Okay. That's another.
Yeah,
confusing.
that's a different thing.
Godzilla, Shish. シリーズ完結ゴジラ対デストロイヤー12月9日ついにゴジラ最後の時
I couldn't get the box office like weekend by weekend. I couldn't find that, but I can tell you the number one movie in Japan for the whole year was Godzilla versus Destoroyah, which we watched that a few years ago, and I don't know where it ranks amongst the Godzilla heads in terms of like favorites, but I thought it was awesome. Like I loved that movie. So
Oh no, I'm just saying that's like one of the last of before the revival series. Yeah, so
yeah, it might have just been because it was like maybe it was nostalgia. It was like I've never seen it before, but it was like very 90s in production. Obviously, it was mid 90s, so I was like, I don't know. I thought it was cool, and they had the baby, and I remember the plan was they wanted to make Godzilla so mad about the baby that Godzilla would come fight, destroy it. Really good plot, I think. It was like Godzilla was like a nuke and was like gonna go off, and they're like, oh god, Godzilla's gonna blow.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was awesome.
This is like the Super Famicom was still outselling the N64 at this point. It was the new system, but people were still buying a lot more software for the older systems. We're competing against PlayStation, Sega Saturn, 3DO. PCFX was out at this time as well, the NEC system, which was a follow-up to the PC Engine, Japan exclusive system. It looked like a desktop tower computer. And
okay, I don't think I've seen that.
I'm going to say the game we're talking about today would have been a much better fit for that system. Like, because it was almost entirely anime, RPG, and adventure games. Let's see if I can pull a box.
Yeah, let's see this thing.
Mine's upstairs, but here's like one of the games for it. This is a fighting game, but it's entirely FMV. It's an FMV fighting game.
Whoa, what?
Because this system was designed basically. Oh, for audio listeners, I'm holding up a game called Battle Heat. They come in like these really large boxes, and
like a VHS box or something.
Yeah, actually, it's a bit larger than it. Yeah, it looks like an oversized Genesis case, basically, because it's a snap lock case. I'm not going to open this one because this one's sealed. Hold on, let me pull another game. And later, the games came in CD jewel cases. So like you've got, but again, you can see it's mostly anime RPGs. I'm holding up a game called Blue Breaker right now that has an incredibly anime cover, and things like that. And so these type of games, basically what the system was it was basically made as a video game system for anime fans.
Wow!
Like
I can't believe that.
There are almost no non-anime games for it. There was a couple other things, and its main claim to fame was it had almost no 3D capabilities whatsoever. But it had incredibly good video playback because it used like a JPEG compression and Redbook audio and things like that. So it was able to do very smooth. So it could do like FMV games really well. It could do RPGs with a lot of cutscenes, voice acting, stuff like that. But it didn't really do 3D at all. So like it kind of was destroyed in the market. It did not sell very well, but it kept up a niche.
That's cool.
So it survived for 4 years.
That would not have flown here because I feel like all the marketing was like if a game seemed anime, like we've seen this with covers and stuff. Like make it look less anime. And if it's not 3D, it's garbage. Throw it out. So
it was entirely. But it's a fun little system, and like when I'm playing the game we played today, I'm like, this could have been the killer app for that system. You know what I mean? But like it seems so misplaced being an N64 game. And if they had it on this system, they would have been able to have full voice acting and stuff like that. So like,
nice.
it's It's interesting. Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah,
We have to add the anime console to our potential spin-off episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the system was called PCFX. But yeah, that was a rival system. So it was a loaded video game landscape when this year that Wonder Project J came out.
たかしくんどうしたのたかしくんってば
俺帰るわ
なんだ
君は彼女をほっとけないワンダープロジェクト J264 で発売中
エニックス
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby, along with other adjacent subjects like Smash Bros., HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth, well-researched look at a Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience playing Kirby games, creating Kirby-related content, and working in and around the video game industry. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a theater and video game journalist.
And my name's Bridget. I'm an online Kirby commentator and collector.
Our team also includes photographer and Nintendo ambassador Kai Captain Dangerous Parker and Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Vinnk Kirby. Join us for deep dives into Kirby's history, interviews with industry professionals, and even inside looks at Nintendo, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. You can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Wonder Project J2 is a life sim adventure game where the player guides a robot girl, Josette, who is learning to be a human on the military-occupied island of Blue Land. You'll interact with Josette through her robot bird by answering yes or no questions, giving her items, and guiding her to different areas around the island. She'll learn about various aspects of being human, from cooking and cleaning to singing and dancing, and understanding the complex human emotion of love. You'll take Josette to watch movies and work jobs, all while she learns to interact with the people on the island, including the occupying soldiers and protesters. While mostly 2D, there are a couple of 3D sections where you'll take control of a vehicle, either a submarine for underwater fishing or an aircraft for shooting down military planes. Help Josette learn to be a real girl and take on the Silconian Empire in Wonder Project J2.
All right. So
that was a really good description. You covered a lot in a short amount of time. That was a really good description.
You always ask me, like, what do you think? And I was like, well, there's the whole act 2 of the game. And you're like, that's we're gonna have to just talk about it. But,
yeah. That's for further discussion.
Yeah, maybe I'll say too, like, because we'll talk about that in a little bit. So if you are, we'll save that. And if you are interested in the game at all, I would stop listening before we get to that part and play the game and go experience the plot of part 2. It's crazy.
Yeah, I should have asked this at the beginning, but what's your policy on spoilers here?
We normally don't care because we're usually covering like a racing game or a fighting game, and in general, it still doesn't matter. This is full spoilers, but I'm just telling people if it sounds interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I'm hoping people play this one because it's very easy to play these days, unlike when I first played it. So second, you definitely want to talk about the second half, but maybe
we'll save it for later, and that way people can tune out.
Sure.
So this game, it was developed by Givro, which was formerly Almanac, who they made a few games that were published by Enix, including the previous game, Wonder Project J, for the Super Nintendo, 1994, and this is their second to last game. Enix only published one other N64 game, which was Mischief Makers, but in Japan. Not a lot of Enix games at the time even made it to North America. Yeah,
Enix USA had shut down by that point.
Okay, so Nintendo must have just saw something in Mischief Makers, and they're like, we'll publish this in North America, because Enix had no interest, it seems. Okay, so what is there any other context maybe about Almanac, Givro, Enix from the time we're kind of missing out on?
I mean, it's kind of tragic because it seemed to be a very talented studio. And like, I wonder if by going for the Nintendo 64 was a bit of a mistake for this particular game. But like I can see why they'd want to continue because the first one was on Super Nintendo. You know, they want to, and they are connected. I don't know if you played any of the first game.
No, we watched a decent amount like about it, and it looked very cool. Like the style. I heard some similar music, and I know a lot of the lore continues in this game from that game. Some of the backstory. Easily
one of the best looking, best animated. It had basically, bits of pseudo full motion video in it, which when I first played it, I'm like, how are they even doing this? I mean, it's not full motion video, obviously, because the system couldn't do it, but there is like fluid, fast animation in like the title sequence and stuff like that. If anyone just pops on YouTube and watches the intro sequence, it looks amazing for you'd think it was a Sega CD game or something like that. It was very, very impressive what they were able to pull off.
It used the mouse for Super Nintendo, which is pretty cool.
It probably did. And man, the game we're talking about today really would have benefited from the mouse, but it didn't exist at the time.
Yes. Yeah, I wish I had that.
Really, really would. Analog stick does a fair job, but
no, yeah, it was kind of a comforting gaming experience. You can play with one hand. We often were just chilling there like it's a remote control, Well, you had mentioned that this is more like if you don't speak Japanese, like this is more available now. Like there's fan translations. We got the one. I think it was from 2007.
Okay,
by someone named Ryu had uploaded it, and I obviously like there's a thing with that where it's like, it's not an official translation. Like you don't know, like you lose some things in context. Good. I did read from there's a Hardcore Gaming 101 article that I've read
that article. Yeah.
They mentioned that there was like, I don't know if like the translation had certain things that are lost, and we noticed this like a lot of like swearing in there. I don't know if that's actually in the original.
No, it's, I mean, like in general, like swearing is not that much of a thing in Japan.
Sure. Okay.
There's no, because if you like ask like what are bad words in Japanese, there aren't really any that are truly bad. It's more of how you say things than like if you say something in a angry tone, a regular word, but like, so for example, you could, I mean, there's no different. May I use slightly bad language in this podcast?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Like, there's no word that would translate directly to like shit. You'd say kuso, which would mean, but it would also kind of just means poop. Like it's not that one is so much better. But if you say like something like oi ore, like that's their equivalent of swearing, like to break the face, the facade, like to say something directly, to not address someone by honorifics, but just to go right to their name or something like that.
Okay.
That's their equivalent. Like, but like there's not, you don't have the George Carlin list of bad words.
Sure. Okay.
It's more of like the attitude or how you present is bad itself. There's a couple words that they don't say on television that are more like anatomical words, but
gotcha.
But like in general, but in general, it's more of like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, so.
I noticed that with the pro wrestling, I'll see like the English speaking pro wrestlers in Japan, like just go ham on cursing, because it's like, well, I can say whatever I want.
Absolutely. Because, and like now there's a lot of the young people are watching translated YouTube videos. Like the whole brain rot thing is really popular here right now. Like,
oh boy, okay.
So like I'm a teacher, and we're right now at the point where we've just finished pages 65 and 66, and I'm just dreading next week.
Oh my god. That's big there.
Yeah, it is. And they say it in English too. They're not saying like Rokujunana, which is 67 in Japanese. They're actually saying 67. And I'm like,
Whoa.
oh
my
man.
god.
Haven't we done enough to Japan over the years? Do we really have to bring that in? Like, it's
Yeah.
Skibbity
Yikes.
Toilet's big here. I just
Holy
don't get
cow.
it. I don't get it. I just don't. I don't. But like, I realize that I'm not young, so like, I'm not supposed to get it. I'm sure everything that I did, my parents were like, whatever. But
Yes.
there just seems to be I'm old man yelling at clouds right now, but
it's a little bit like it's like quicksand, right?
Yeah.
Where if you like go too hard against it, you
Sure.
become like a try-hard, and it's like that's embarrassing too.
I mean, the best way to get my students to stop doing it is if I start doing it, because they're
Yeah.
like, this is not good. This is the worst. But getting back to what you're saying,
Yes.
but I think the translator was going a little bit too hard, because the game itself does not present itself as I want to be very, very clear. I am not fluent in Japanese. I get by, but like, to understand the nuances of the original game and to the translation, I can't speak to that, but I think some artistic liberties were taken. Like, in a lot of the days of anime fan translations, they would take like kid shows and like Crayon Shin-chan when they
Shin-chan. I loved that show. Yeah.
It's a kid show, but they went with like a MA rated show when they brought it to America. So it's
I loved that show. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Some of the swears did pop us pretty good when we streamed the whole thing too, and it was I don't know, it was outrageous where you just all of a sudden the character's like, what the fuck?
We never see that on a Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah, and I mean, but again, I think that's frankly, and I think Hardcore 101 also talked about this, but like the translation of the first Wonder Project, which actually happened, I think, later than J2, captures it a little bit better. Yeah.
I saw some of the names were translated more like thematically. Like, there's the two guys they mentioned, their names like translated are Rob and Burr.
Dorobo. Yeah.
Because it's like a pun.
Yeah. And again, like when I was first, when I first was learning Japanese or whatever, I was all like, I want the most literal translation possible. But now I'm like, nah, make it so people can understand without having to crack a textbook. So yeah,
sure. But I appreciated it for sure. Like, and we were able to enjoy like the whole game with it. So, again, if people listening, you should definitely go seek that out. I think it's worth it.
Very solid. And to get back to your original question, sorry, I know we're moving around right here.
No.
The company folding soon after, it was just absolutely tragic. Like I love the music in the game, and the composer, Akihiro Mori, like he passed away shortly after this game came out. He was only 32. That's very, very young, and like that was that's kind of a blow. I couldn't find much information on him. I don't know exactly what happened, but like, when you lose people like that, and they never really were self-publishing, so they were always at the, trying to find publishers for their games. So it's kind of no surprise that they went under, and the type of games they made were not clicking with what people were selling at that time, which was like, full 3D, but It's funny because had they survived a few more years, there was a revival of those genres. Like I think they'd find a home right now. Like their stuff would sell well on Steam right now. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Now it's like, we don't care about that. It's like a post, like, exactly. 3D world.
Yeah.
McKenna, I guess I want to ask you, what did you generally like? What did you think about the game?
I thought it was really cool. I love 2D games. And I wish there hadn't been so much backlash on the idea of a 2D game on Nintendo 64 in the US. And,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we would have gotten some more. I didn't know anything about this game before we played it.
Mhm.
You said it was kind of a life sim. So I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the game. It's kind of it's like a raising sim, which I have not played before.
Mhm.
And there's a whole like political element to it,
Yeah.
which we did not know about before we started.
Kind of timely, yeah. So,
Yeah, you're like raising a child on this island that also has like a military occupation. And so it's like, it does have this interesting tone where it's like, it's often it's slice of life, and it's charming and it's beautiful. You mentioned the music, but also the art is amazing.
It's gorgeous.
But then, there's a serious element on top, like you were saying, like it is kind of wild, that tone. And I feel like it walks that line pretty well.
I mean, that's one of the things that attracted me to it, because it people say it looks like a Ghibli movie, kind of. I mean, obviously it's not of that level, but it is in a certain way, because his films also would incorporate those elements. Like if you watch like Howl's Moving Castle, there's definitely like a rebellion going on and things like that amongst these really beautiful visuals. So like, especially like some of the early like Nazca, Laputa, things like that. Yeah.
I did read that the character designer was a Ghibli animator, Akihiko Yamashita. Did the character designs. Also, one of their credits was Howl's Moving Castle, so appropriate. I feel like it's crazy we're doing a life sim type game. We're just like any sort of simulation game. Like so many episodes we do where I'm like, McKenna, this isn't really your kind of game. Like like most of the episodes we do. But you're down there in the mines, you're just going through like playing all these games that are kind of out of your wheelhouse. But I feel like this was one where I was like, this is the most like your type of thing, even though you haven't played one specifically like a raising sim, as you mentioned. But this was like, I feel like this was way up your alley.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot going on to it with the raising aspect. Like you're not directly controlling Josette except for a couple specific times, and it's kind of a puzzle communicating with her, because you're limited to how you can interact with her, and sometimes it's hard to figure out, like, do I need to do this more times, or do I need to do something different? It's basically like parenting.
Yes, it really. I mean, we haven't had children, but like I can only from my experience of like dealing with my nieces or nephews or whatever, like dealing with children, of like trying to like answer all these, like they'll occasionally stop and just ask you this question that you're totally blindsided by, and it's like, I don't even know what to say. I guess have some pudding.
Yeah, I have 4 children.
Wow.
And so okay, let me tell you, I hadn't picked up this game in years. I started replaying it because I knew I was going to be on this podcast, and this is the first time I've played it as a father, and I got a very different take on it, because when I first played it, I was so frustrated. Like, why doesn't she just do what I do? It's like, don't eat the book. Like
that, oh my god! That
but I'm looking back and I'm like,
minds.
And I'm like, I'm telling my kids, don't chew on the book. Like, it's like, why are you licking the wall right now? It's like kids are like that. But I mean, for those, I guess we didn't really go through the gameplay mechanic other than that brief description. But basically, you don't directly control any character. You just react to how they're kind of autonomously living. Like the characters
you say like yes or no, basically, and like point out things, like interact with this, and that's about it.
In the first Wonder Project, you hit the main character with a mallet if they did the wrong thing.
I did see there was some speculation on that, why maybe that wasn't why it was localized to North America, but I think a lot of it is just like we talked about, Enix wasn't bringing games over, so
they weren't. And like, it would have sold. I'll tell you, if it had come to America, it would have sold like 8 copies, and now it would be worth $12,000. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like Earthbound. We just weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
And like, so, but yeah, it is like raising a kid. And the thing, and I don't want to get too far ahead, and I won't go into it much, but you have to at some point have the main character unlearn the things you taught them to do something different. And that's very like parenting. You know, like at first you want to, protect them and you want them to follow rules, but then later you want them to realize that like sometimes you have to act independently, or, in this situation, you don't do that, but I'm going to tell you another situation where you do something like this. And the game has you at sometimes unteaching the character something you've previously taught the main character. And that's like parenting.
Yeah, it's great. And sometimes you don't know if what you're doing is what needs to be done to like teach them the thing, which I can only imagine is like, am I doing this right? It's a feeling.
All the time, and like, and and just like this game, like, it's like, oh, is this the best thing for their development right now? Is this going to raise their stats? And I'm thinking that with my own kids, like, is this, how much freedom do I get? What do I teach? It does remind me also of like point and click games. Did you ever play any of the old Lucasfilm games?
Yes. Yeah.
Or anything like that? Yeah. Sometimes
I love that style.
Sometimes the answers to the puzzles were very, like, it took it was easier to teach her how to pilot a submarine than it was to convince her to take a shower. Like,
that was one of our number one struggles, right?
Yeah. It's so late in the game comparatively to like that I was able to find out, because you have to teach the concept of clean first, and then like, it's just very. But in a way, that kind of frustration, if the game wasn't presented so incredibly charmingly, that would be me rage quitting right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. We never were like, there were times where we were like frustrated, but it wasn't even like, it was like in a delightful way usually. And I will say, we also we used 2 different game facts to help us with some of this.
Oh, game facts. Oh,
McKenna, maybe you could talk about the experience of like what we were doing with the game fact, and why were you using 2?
Yeah, I think there was one where we were kind of following some of the instructions. Okay, so one of the game facts was written by someone who I believe French was their first language. So, I think they were playing the game. This was written before the English translation. So they're playing the game in Japanese. Their first language is French, and they're writing it in English. So I think, some things didn't quite get, translated correctly in the game facts. So we're kind of cross-referencing it with another one, trying to figure out if we're doing the correct thing.
And the other one is referencing
the first one.
Yeah. So I want to shout them out, since we also mentioned the English translation, but it was one from 1999 by E. Xavier, and one from 2002 by Aussie2B. And I think the second one was meant to elaborate on some of the more difficult ones to accomplish. But even some of those, they were like not sure if what they did was the right. They're like, I think that's what did it. So
Can I
Very
interject something right here?
Please, yeah.
As I mentioned before, my Japanese is not fantastic, and it would I even today I'm not really at the level where I could play this through to the end purely in Japanese. I don't think there's too much going on. Maybe, I mean, now we're in the era of Google Translate and things like that, so it's much easier. But when I first played this game, I played with printouts of those game facts.
Wow.
That was my entire guide because there was no translation when I first played it. So that was my translation. So I played Sakura Wars the same way. There was no official translation. So I was with a printout of this guide, just struggling through, missing half of the story. But again, it's because it's visually so charming and the characters are so expressive that even though I didn't fully follow the story, I was intrigued to keep going on. But I didn't beat the game back then because I eventually just hit a wall. So again, I replayed the game in preparation for this podcast with the translation. And aside from me being older and having raised children as well, I also was understanding the story a lot better than the original time. And so I want to thank you for giving me that pressure. I mean, you didn't tell me to replay the game, but I was like, oh, they're going to talk about this. I can't just go by vague memories. I have to get through. And yeah, I replayed it, and that was really fun.
That's awesome. I'm glad we at least gave you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. But when you're mentioning the game facts, I'm like, so before fan translations, that's how I played a lot of Japanese games. And I played Sakura Wars. I had downloaded the game fact to my Palm Pilot. This will give you an idea of where we are time wise. But yeah, it was so much work went into those things. I gotta just hats off to the early internet game facts creators. Just amazing.
I feel like we now shout them out in like every episode we do. So it was kind of perfect for this because again, we're reading this and it's giving us advice and it's not even sure if it's right. And it felt like again, like reading a book on parenting and you're like, I don't even know if this is right. Like who knows what's right and how to do this right.
It's less clear than the first game. In the first game, you have like basically you can kind of see the gauges filling up. So like it's more clear. But in this one, it's you learn when she's mastered a skill, but you don't see how many steps we're going in that direction until you get the Dragon Quest type sound effect of like, I've gained the skill, but before that, sometimes you're like, should I click it a couple more times? Should I go to this area I haven't been to for a while? Like, what advances the plot now? Yeah.
What were there are some areas where we just like, something happened here?
Alley.
Shady alley or whatever. Like
Shady alley. Yeah.
Nope. Okay.
The cat.
The cat thing was really hard to figure out. Yeah.
What was she has to like eat the figurine of the cat so she speaks cat or something convoluted like that. I don't even remember how it was solved.
I didn't like this actually.
Yeah.
We had to
teach her to kick the cat.
Oh yeah, that was it.
And this is where we had to do some unlearning.
Yeah.
Because after that, we had to teach her that was bad.
To pet the cat.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't like that we taught her to kick the cat in the first place.
She kicks a lot of stuff. And sometimes you don't expect it. It's like she eats and or kicks a lot of objects in the game.
That was in one of the best gaming moments. The first time we were like, okay, because we had never seen her like eat anything other than the pudding.
Yep.
We throw down the book. We're like, all right, read the book. She picks it up. Stuffs it in her mouth hole. We
Yep.
scream.
We're like, we just bought that.
Yep. Then you
With
buy
our
another
hard-earned
book.
money.
You buy another book, and she balances on her head, and it's like
There was an amazing payoff where, because we didn't do as much of like there's mines and stuff like that. We didn't do that
Sure.
till later, and so for a lot of the game, she's like, I'll be able to walk on a log now.
oh, and
we're
you
like,
didn't know what that was connected to. Yeah,
I assumed
yeah.
we were going to, but when we finally did, we were like, yes,
We are ready for this. We've been preparing for this moment.
still it's like 20 times, you know.
But that's the thing, is sometimes the game gives you very clear hints like that, and other times it's really, really vague. But again, that reminds me of those old Lucasfilm point and clicks, because part of it was they were vague because it extends the life of the game. It encourages exploration rather than just going to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we weren't sure because it was like there are certain things you just kind of had to do it on like repetition. We're like,
That's right.
like you said, like, do we ever lift weights more?
Yeah,
Is that what
the
we
strength training? That was
Yep. You got to do the strength training
But
to break the chains, right? That was like what the strength training was for.
Well, we thought
that, and we had to fight.
you have to fight.
You have to
Oh,
fight
yeah,
a couple
later,
guys.
yeah.
We're like,
It's a weird game. It's a really weird game. I love it so much. It's so unique. It's unique even among raising sims, because a lot of raising sims I find kind of sketchy.
That's something I wanted to ask you about, because I saw there was a whole. I think I saw this on Wikipedia initially. Like they talked about Bishojo.
Yeah. Beautiful
and
girl
this,
games. Yeah.
Reading about them, this seemed different. Those seem more like closer to like dating simulator type games, but I'm very unfamiliar.
Like Raising Sims, it's hard to find the origins. The origins of Raising Sims might be in the United States. Did you ever play a game called Little Computer People?
I have not. I know. I've never heard of it.
It was on Commodore 64, Apple II, stuff like that. And it was basically kind of like The Sims, a very embryonic form of The Sims. It was a game where you don't directly control the characters. They just kind of move around. And that's kind of the type of gameplay it was. But a lot of the raising sims are a little more direct. You try to raise these bars or whatever. One of the most famous ones is called Princess Maker, which was made by Vinnk. They had their hands in all kinds of stuff. R.I.P. Vinnk. They just shut down this year.
And that's a series, right? There's like a couple Princess Maker games.
Yes, there's several. They were on lots of different platforms too. And that one is kind of like you're raising your daughter, but it's also a little bit of a love interest, which is very like you don't have to go that direction, but you can. And like I don't like that. And like Princess Maker is a beloved series, so I don't want to like poo-poo it, but like, and it was very influential for that. There's Melanchan's Growth Diary on Neo Geo Pocket that's a little closer to this because it's more of an innocent type of raising sim. But then there's a lot of them that are like, the scenario is you're a teacher, it's your student. By the end of the semester, you want to help them graduate and or marry them. So like, and like,
we got
like
we got a tad bit nervous when we were playing this at one point, and like she was started asking about like love and if we were in love, and like but that the game is I think it's very wholesome.
I think so too. I think so too. And like
the strangest thing is like there's like the one animation, she jumps up in the air and you see her underwear, and it's like, okay, someone was having fun with that one, but
and again, that goes back to the whole Ghibli thing too. There's constant flashes of underwear from their female characters in those things, and it's they would have given her shorts if they had ever localized this game. Definitely, they would, and they should, frankly. I mean, like, it's 1990s Japan, So it was a bit of.
I
a
mean,
different
our games were also had their own weird things as
Oh,
well. So
of course. But yeah, it's pretty wholesome. Yeah, the least wholesome thing is when she keeps announcing that she's a filthy girl. So like, like when you're trying to get her to shower, she's like, "I'm a filthy girl," and I'm like, "Stop saying that!" Like,
I don't know. I thought it was funny.
It was very funny the first couple of times, but I'm like, this is a phrase I should have her unlearn, like X button, like.
No, yeah. Even like there's a whole like thing where you can teach her the meaning of love, and there's like this love interest for her, and I thought even that was like cute, like playing it.
It was. She's like, when I watch this movie, I have feelings or something. Yeah, it's like, that's but what's kind of nice is because you are controlling through Bird. You're not directly there. You're more of like a guiding voice than you are like a creepy old guy. Do you know what I mean? Like there's enough of a disconnect where you are and not completely controlling her life. She's very much an independent character. You're more guiding someone who has their own motivations and their own, I think that's a much more wholesome way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I felt very, I don't know, by the end of it, McKenna, like I felt pretty endeared to the character of Josette. Like when we were watching the end of the game and everything, it was like, I was like, oh, I really feel like this all paid off, like all the work we did, all the parenting we did together.
It's really interesting because, I mean, even a lot of the more modern raising sims or whatever have not captured it nearly as well. I mean, I think it's a really, really unique game. Like that. I don't know. I really like this game. I'll just say that right now. Like I really, really enjoy it, but it seems very out of place on this platform.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, especially for us when we're factoring out like anything else like that could have made it over. Like if we're comparing it to the North American lineup, it's even more bizarre, I would say. Though there were, so like one aspect that people were talking about, like in some of the reviews I read, were like, that we talked about how the graphics, it's just 2D, like whatever. There are like 3D sections of this game.
Yeah.
McKenna, any standout of the 3D? Some of the 3D aspects of this game. What were your favorites?
The 3D sections were interesting. Sometimes it was difficult to keep your bearings. I think we struggled in like the mines with trying to figure out where to go.
Yep.
Big time.
Because I think there were we followed directions on the from the game facts, and they didn't take us where
they were wrong.
we thought we were gonna go. We're like, does this even match up? We're like, right? Like,
I had to watch a YouTube playthrough to figure it out. Because back in the day, I don't remember which 3D thing it was, but that's what caused me to stop playing the game the first time I went through the 3D sections. Because they feel so tacked on. Like, this is an N64 game. We better use 3D, I don't find them to be a deal breaker, but I think it's the weakest parts of the game.
There is something about, because it is such I do love games from the time. There's some that do it like actually beautifully, where they mix this. This is a case where I agree with you more. That's tacked on, but there's something about that I still find like so charming. Like all of a sudden I'm piloting a submarine and it's in 3D, or you're flying the plane and it's in 3D. And there's something that's like weirdly charming about it, even if it is like kind of like hard to see and it looks kind of bad. And
Yeah.
you're bumping into stuff in the submarine. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But I don't know. It's got its charm, I would say.
I would say so, but like it feels to me like this team was like told like, hey, your last games were totally 2D, but like this is the N64. We need some 3D in there, like because the 3D aged so much poorer than the 2D. Like the smooth animation still looks fantastic. It looks really good. But then you get to the 3D sequence and it's like, oh, okay, this is in the Wolfenstein engine or something.
This might be the best like looking game we've played, like at least in those 2D sections on the console because of that. Like in terms of just how aesthetically pleasing I think it is. I don't know if the technical stuff, I don't know, but I think like you said, it holds up the best.
It's kind of amazing because like there's obviously tons of repeated animations, but like it's done in such a. Actually, I should send maybe a link for you and your viewers. Did you possibly go to spritesresource.com?
I did go there. Yeah, I saw some of the. Yeah,
they've got the whole. It's amazing. It's amazing the animation that went into this, and like and obviously. Maybe it was due to cart storage space. Maybe it was due to time. But like when characters are zoomed in and they just make the pixels bigger, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like it's unfortunate that they couldn't have done a separate sprite like they do for her when she approaches the camera. We're going to say camera. When she approaches, gets closer, they have that really nice looking. But like when it's ever a minor character and they're supposed to be closer to, they're just this pixelated blocky mess.
It's fuzzy, yeah.
And it's fuzzy because like it probably would have actually looked better on the Super Nintendo because they would have just used mode 7 scaling, but because they were they had the anti-aliasing there, or it really looks rough.
Yeah, so even in the best looking N64 game, the N64 shows its face. Like that's been a thing with a lot of games we've played where like this thing looks a little fuzzy or this thing looks a little off, and like even in this 2D more pixel or whatever sprite looking game, it's got to show up for sure.
Exactly. Which it's a little unfortunate because there are some times when you look at the game and like it looks like it could be a CD based game easily, like really, really nice, and then like suddenly it's like, oh, this is an N64 game, like,
I liked a lot of the art, like of a lot of the scenery, right? Like, see not just like where you'd go to the little spots, but like the different islands, like the island from the first game and Corlo Island have like just these beautiful like map art of the whole region. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I find the art holds up just incredibly well. Yeah.
So one thing I think is interesting about this early part of the game is part 1 is like you're teaching her all these things, and we have like this log book of what was it, like 30 achievements,
something like that. And
it's you get percentage you can get 100% for completing it, but you don't have to like get to the second part of the game. But if you do, you get a special dress. It's pretty cool. We did it, obviously we wanted to see everything that we could, but then I guess we could talk about the second part of the game now.
Sure.
So people stop if you're worried about this, but the second part of the game is there is some quote unquote gameplay, but it is mostly story based. And we already kind of talked about it, but there is a wild story taking place here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's
hinted at in the first part of the game. It's hinted at. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the elements from the first game, obviously, that you're contending with. We talked about the occupying army, but then the hint you're talking about is there's also this added element of like an ancient civilization. The titular Project J. There's wizards. it's crazy. I don't know how we want to talk about it necessarily.
I mean, again, I'm really hoping people play this. And if you're thinking of playing it, like maybe we don't give everything, but like it goes darker. It goes much darker, and it is connected to the first game. But I played the second game before the first, and so it's totally it's they explain enough.
Yeah,
like,
in fact, we read about most of it in retrospect. Like it didn't really hamper our enjoyment of the game. There's a lot of stuff where like, oh, this is from the first game, like clearly, you know.
Yeah, like Karen is a grown up version of what is it, Lynx from the first game, you know, and stuff like that. Like it's neat, the connections, but it's unnecessary. But yeah, but like this, it really touches on themes of, I guess, racism, authority, government control. Because I mean, did we ever mention that she's a robot? I don't know if we mentioned that.
That might
I did in my description.
Okay,
in the description. Okay, but like
that's why she can eat books whole and kick.
That is why she. Yeah, that's true. That's
anything.
Yeah, but one thing we might not have mentioned as much is that this is a society that's kind of against robots. You know, that's kind of. There are definitely characters who do not like that, and it's got to be kept somewhat of a secret.
This is something I knew. I knew they call them gaijin, right? Which is the term for like
I mean, I think they're pronouncing it like gijin.
Gijin. Okay.
Gi meaning like gin, meaning like silver. Perhaps I don't know. I'd have to look at the actual. I'd have to look at the actual kanji, but like, yeah, I got that same reading from because I am a gaijin, but like, I don't know if that was specific connection.
Okay.
Because the gi is not the symbol for like outsider, which is what gaijin is. Gai means outside or side. That's why gaiden is side story, because it means outside the main story. And so gaijin is an outside person.
Okay, so that might not be something they're going for with this.
But you know what? If that's the takeaway you had, I think that's still a valid point, because there's definitely aspects of that.
There's some like just more playing into there's the kid Pino who's like from the first game. There's like a Pinocchio real boy thing going on. The doctor's name is Geppetto or Geppette or something. So
yeah.
There's some stuff going on with that. I will say, we got to talk about in part 2. There is more of the first person 3D maze sort of gameplay.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some of the side-scrolling stuff too. You go inside the tower, on the island, and I actually kind of liked that part of the game because we started drawing a map because it got really confusing, but
that's old school. Yeah. Did you use graph paper?
Yes, we had it ready to go because we also recently played through the original Metroid. So we were McKenna.
Okay. Yeah.
McKenna has been graphing. So we were like ready for it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that part, it's like kind of like a maze where you're going up and down stairs and ladders on screens. And I feel like that might be something that would turn people off playing, but we had fun with it, making the map. But then there's another first person part where you go through this crazy maze that they ask you questions about Josette.
Yeah.
And you have to like answer 20 questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you mess up or don't answer quick enough, you have to start over.
Yeah.
And this was we messed it up once and it was like demoralizing. It was the worst part of the game.
It's like, I don't even know my own kid. You know, it's very like, and some of that stuff, I gotta say, it feels a bit like padding. Do you know what I mean? Like, like there was this classic thing of like, in the like 80s and 90s video games, it's like, our game's not long enough. Let's throw in a maze. You know what I mean? Like Famicom Tante Club, like the Famicom Detective Club, the first game had a maze near the end, even though there was no maze at all during the rest of the game. It was all just choose from menus or whatever, and suddenly you're in a maze. Fester's Quest, Sunsoft game, classic game. It's like, okay,
I loved that when I was a kid. Yeah.
I had it. Yeah. And it's all of a sudden, okay, now you're in a maze. Golgo 13. Okay. It's a shooting game. It's a car racing game. And now it's a maze. They would just like, it felt like that was the part that like gave it so that you couldn't beat it during a rental. Like,
Oh, definitely. It's a huge, it's like a time check for sure, where it's like, you have to be locked in for this. Because then they also throw like this like escape sequence at you too, which is hard in a different way, because it's like the controls are a little tanky, but you have to like run from some guys, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, story-wise, second half has a lot. It's wonderful,
mostly that.
But for the game, I like the earlier stuff better, because for one thing, you can die, but like, the most that happens is you lose some money and some time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not there's not many unwinnable conditions that you can stumble into, and you can kind of take it at your own pace. Like, you don't have to do all the jobs. You can focus on some of the ones. Some things you have to do, but other things you have a little more free range, and it's you can play it, and you're not stressed out. It's very Animal Crossing, like it's not. And then the second half of the game, like, I guess maybe that works though, because it amps the tension.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
the second half is supposed to be tense,
and even then they give you like a pretty big reward for doing those. Like, they straight up say like, okay, like, say you can save the game now, and like, or maybe that was just in the game fact where they're like, all right, enjoy watching.
The game facts did say that.
They're like, enjoy the next 40 minutes of cutscenes or whatever. So
it's obviously a very totally different genre or whatever, but I liken the second half of this game to the second disc of Xenogears. Like, it's like mainly story, and like perhaps anybody who was thinking that the second half would be like the first half, and even saying half is kind of wrong, because it's not half. They say chapter 2, but like it's much shorter. It's much shorter.
It's like an eighth of the game if you do all of the achievements and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can leave some of the story up to people to maybe as a tease to go check it out.
Sure.
But McKenna, did you, just in terms of that aspect, the second part where we got the major cutscene stuff, what do you think about that?
It's like a roller coaster kind of, because there's like a lot of points where you think things are starting to conclude, and then like they're met with some new issue, and it's like, oh god, what's gonna happen now? Like,
there's a lot of near falls, to use like a wrestling terminology, where it's like, there's a lot of back and forth between the good guys and the bad guys.
There's like a whole character that's introduced.
Oh yeah, another robot, right? Is that who you're talking about? Or no, there's a lot of characters actually introduced.
The woman,
oh, hold on.
I did not say.
Yeah, there's a woman that we don't want to spoil who it is. That is crazy though, yeah. But there's also like there's a new robot character. That's where you really start to see stuff with like the henchman of the bad guy that you only really see in like the opening cutscene. There's a lot of battles and sacrifice and all this crazy emotional beats.
You don't expect that characters are gonna die in a game like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, from the art style originally on,
Yeah, it's so wild. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. So, and there's, like I said, there's this thing like when there's like books you can read and stuff where they tell you about some of this lore, but then all of a sudden you're like really actually confronted with it, and like these magical characters are thrown in and stuff, and you're like, well, I don't know. I just didn't expect this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't totally unprepare you for you. Like you're not going to be totally thrown for a loop because even fairly early in the game, you're trying to teach her how to use the pickaxe or whatever, and then you walk into this one scene and there's a revolutionary guy being executed on the street. You know what I mean? Like, and that's pretty early in the game. But then it's just like, okay, let's go to the park now. It's very, it's kind of like, but it kind of prepares that like the society is not what it seems,
Yeah, and like when you're washing up on this like mystical island and stuff, you're like, what the hell is going on? There's Fam. There's the character Fam. It's like, wow. Okay.
Well, Fam featured a lot in the first game, actually. So like it might make a little more sense there, but it's still, it
was cool. Like I kind of like that it all of a sudden like started dropping like really heavy, because in the game, like, you're reading about some of this like ancient lore or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I didn't expect to be like directly talking to some of these characters. And
I think that's one of the things I like about it, because I mean, outside of like maybe Zelda or something like that, like there's not a lot of games that even have a lot of text, to be frank, but there's very few that like have as much world building.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, I mean, not everything can have the deep lore of Arrow Gauge, but like
there's no
there's a lot of
Power Jungle energy drink
they didn't build another Chinatown Island next to
there was political
yes,
geopolitical conflict, I guess. So
yes, but at this, and that's why it feels so out of place. Because like obviously you had story-based games later on, but like you had Paper Mario, which is very light. You had Zelda, which mostly did showing rather than telling.
I wouldn't say that's like
it wasn't. There's plenty of text to read, but like it was more of like through the gameplay and through the atmosphere told a lot of the story. But this is a game that has comparatively to other N64 games fairly limited interaction and heavy story, and there's a lot to be read. And there's a lot to. I'm trying to think of any game that has more story
on N64. I don't know. I legit can't think of anything that. Definitely not that we've encountered.
I mean, some of the Japanese games like the Shiren the Wanderer series, but that's not super text heavy. Super Robot Wars has a lot of lore just because it's connected with all of the Gundams and all those, but the lore is not within the game itself. It's like what the player brings into it.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if you would bring some examples maybe from like if even in Japan, like this was unusual for an N64 game.
I mean,
but
I think, I mean, a little bit less, because there was a bit more variety in Japan. We had a few RPGs that didn't come out here, and we had did Custom Robo come out in the States, or that first came out of the GameCube? That's not there was no localized Custom Robos, right?
Not that I don't know, actually.
Oh, you haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't gotten there. I mean, I know the name, but I'm like, is there? I don't know.
There were two of them in Japan, and like there was a dating sim. There were a lot more games that were, based off other properties. So like it didn't stand out as much in Japan, but I think even amongst the Japanese game landscape, because N64 had just kind of slotted itself as to such as a console that had 3D, had a lot of action games, had a lot of things like that.
But multiplayer, I guess.
We got to keep in mind though that it was an early game, so at that point, Nintendo 64 hadn't quite established what it was yet.
Yeah, totally.
So like that's why you've got games like Mischief Makers, also Enix, but done by Treasure. That feels a little out of place in the library.
Yeah, we
You
haven't
know what I
played
mean?
many 2D side-scrolling games either.
There was a Konami did a 2D fighter. What is it? Rangaku Kids. Sorry, I
yes, yeah.
I got it.
We have played that. We haven't done an episode on it, but we have played that. Yeah.
So there are more games that like broke the mold, but like they aren't the games people remember from the system. And I hate to say it, but most people have, even in Japan, do not know about the Wonder Project series. It did not. The people who played it probably have very fond memories of it, but it wasn't a bestseller. It wasn't, and like, it's worth money now, probably because it didn't sell quite as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the well-known games, your Mario Karts, your Zeldas, your Smash, you can get loose carts of those real cheap because they sold very well. And those are the games people remember from this system. And again, Wonder Project J holds a very special place in my heart because I was so excited about it and so disappointed that we didn't get it.
I know,
and games like it. It's almost like there's a really interesting video by Jeremy Parrish. He goes through this game. He does a sequential series as well, a YouTube series.
We watched his video on this game. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
And what he says about it is exactly how I feel about it, in that it represents a different way Nintendo could have gone. Because the N64 isn't a system that couldn't do 3D. I mean, sorry, 2D. It's not like it couldn't do games like this. You could have ported Secret of Monkey Island to this system. You know what I mean? You could have made. They did later on. Yoshi's what was it called?
Yoshi's Story.
Yeah. It was called that there too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yoshi's.
I guess that's the other 2D side scroller we played. Yeah.
That's a 2D side scroller. Kirby to a certain extent.
Yeah,
they tried. It has 3D
much.
elements, but later on, they did introduce those type of games. But in the early days, it was 3D or nothing. It was this is what we're doing, and what came out 2D in America, mainly puzzle games, I guess, would be basically all your 2D stuff.
Yeah, we just did Bust a Move. Arcade edition. I guess that's 2D. Yeah. And
in Japan, they got a whole bunch of different puzzle games. Probably the Puyo Puyo series. Here's Puyo Puyo Sun. I'm holding up a copy of Puyo Puyo Sun right here, and that's totally 2D. And it's they didn't make use of any 3D features at all, other than perhaps the logo scaling it. And that was okay for Japan, but the West had gone a different direction. We had to sell. I mean, look at the advertising too. Look at the box arts.
Yes.
They
Mischief
really
Makers is
wanted
an example of that.
Oh my goodness, yeah. They really
Mystical
wanted to
Ninja starring Goemon. They did that.
Oh my goodness.
If it has an anime cover.
That's a good example of a game that has story in it. Quite a bit. I mean, obviously not as deep as this one, but that's another one. We have done that one yet? Oh,
we loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. And that's another one that I played long after because I'd given up on the system before there. But if I would have just stuck with it a little bit more, I would have found games like that. And I would have really loved that back then. That was my type of game.
That has been such a common theme on the show, McKenna, I feel is well, you said it earlier as well. We wish we were playing more games where they just embrace having 2D games on the console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, because I have to tell you the truth. You're the first people I've talked to that have beat this game.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been trying so hard to get other people to play it, and nobody does. But tell me, like, no spoilers, but emotionally, how did you feel at the end of this game?
That's amazing, because I was gonna ask you that, like, because like I mentioned earlier, I did feel like for hold on, first of all, our game crashed, and I didn't know, like, we were playing like the translated ROM on an EverDrive.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was the game or that ROM. You did point out, we watched a video. It was like when it was all cutscenes left. So we we completed it. So we're like, let's just watch
through the gameplay parts. You got through the gameplay parts. Okay.
But you noted one of the comments on the video was someone said,
yeah, there was someone in the comments who was watching because their game crashed, and I looked. They posted when it crashed, and I was like, that was the same time ours crashed.
It was like when a big explosion happens. No.
Okay.
But so anyway, I bring that up only because I did feel like watching it at the end, and Josette's talking to you. Spoilers, she's talking to you and stuff.
Yeah.
And I did feel like this paid off, and like I felt like, wow, like this child we raised, like that we have this connection to, like it hit for me. The only thing that took away from it was that we weren't progressing the text, and the name on the screen wasn't. We named ourselves like Flashback 64, FD 64.
I bet I know the video you're watching. Were you Joe-san?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe-san.
Yeah. That's the only. I think it's the only non-commentary playthrough of the game online. So a lot of people have. Yeah,
that took away from it a little bit.
Yeah,
but I did feel like I felt impacted by it. How did you feel like at the end of it?
Yeah, I definitely did too. We put a lot of effort into raising her, and
I felt like we were so endeared to the character and her journey and everything, and she was so sweet. And you mentioned it was a roller coaster and like, yeah, there was a lot of moments where we were like very like anxious about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was just really well done. Like some of the imagery in the end, and the music and everything, and all the characters that were there. It was, I don't know. It felt like it was like the ending was pretty well earned. It worked for us, I would say.
It really was the friends we made along the way. You know, I really didn't want it to end. I was really enjoying the ride. And again, I don't think I had this was my first time going to the end. When I played it before, I had given up before the end. And I loved the game, and that's why I recommended it to this cast, because I wanted to talk about it. But now I'm playing it. I don't know how I would have reacted to it the first time I played, because I was young and single, you know. But now I have 3 daughters, and one of them is getting ready to go off into the world for college in a couple of years, and we're working on that. And I'm hoping I made the right decisions along the way to prepare her for that. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get, hold on. But
you don't get the achievement percent to know.
No, I don't. But the thing is, with a real kid, they don't play the jingle when I've leveled up her skill enough. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm hoping.
She good at dancing? I don't know.
one of the reviews that I saw of this game from, I think, Kimimi, like another
yes,
review was saying something like but I'm not worried about my daughter now because I've raised her well, you know, something like that. I don't remember what the exact line was, but it felt worth it. The journey, I thought it was a very satisfying ending. And a little bit emotional. The only thing that I could have thought was some of the characters who factor into the second half, because they were introduced late, or some of the earlier characters weren't developed quite as much. They didn't have as much of an impact. But yeah, I don't know. Comparing it, like, comparing it to a game made these days where everything's very narrative and story heavy, you might lack in some ways, but there was nothing like that at that time. I think if we put it in the perspective of 1996, masterpiece.
I agree. Yeah, I think it kind of benefits from like not knowing. It's not like perfect, you know what I mean? And like it's confusing.
Oh, definitely.
And some of that benefits it greatly. And you talked about like some like raising sims, like some of them don't do it to the level of this one. I think it's because this one benefits from. I have nothing to compare it to. I think this one benefits though from like, I don't know if these inputs are exactly right, but like I said, it was just fun to hang out in this world. I can totally see not wanting it to end. Like I would love to just have an excuse to go and do things in this world without even like the objective of the like mains beating the game, you know? Like,
one of the things that puzzles a lot of people with this game is the original Wonder Project did not sell that well. It was okay, but it definitely didn't sell well enough to require an expensive sequel. So like either there were just some diehard fans or like just the developers wanted more. Do you know what I mean? Like after the first game. And like it's really unfortunate that they folded soon afterwards, because I would love to see what they do with modern hardware. Like full voice acting. There was some voice acting in the game and it was cute. But like,
from Josette in particular.
If it would have had full voice acting, that would have been even more. Sadly, the game is mostly forgotten. So it is my mission that as many people play it as possible so that we can eventually demand a sequel.
We've done that for so many games on the podcast that it's for us, it's almost like, I guess, not Boy Who Cried Wolf, but it's almost like that where like we've said like, oh, they should make another one of these, but this one, I swear to God, they really should make another one. This would be so up your alley.
Yeah.
I did see that they did a mobile release of this in like 2010, but I could not find any evidence of it.
I'm wondering if that is if that was an internet rumor that led to another you know what I mean? Because like I can't find much more than that it existed.
Yeah, that's all.
But like nobody's dumped it. I can't find any gameplay videos or anything of. So I believe that it may have existed, but it must have made such little impact because the internet was around then. There should be something, you know,
like a video or something. Anything.
Exactly. So like. Maybe I haven't dug deep enough yet, but like because I lived in Japan during that time and I'm the target audience. Do you know what I mean? I had a feature phone. Yeah. You know, I had a feature phone and, you know, so like, and I was pretty into gaming, you know, in all aspects. So like,
anyone out there has the lowdown. Let us know.
Goodness. Yeah, please. Cause I'd love to. I mean, I don't know if I have any device that could use it, but like it would just be nice to see what it looked like and how they even negotiated to do that with a totally defunct company. You know, so like,
would it just? Yeah, I don't even know. Like who owns it? Does Square Enix own it now? Or?
I don't know because they were the publisher. But like, if so, that means it would have been released by SquareSoft. Well, no, sorry, Square Enix. And then there should be tons of documentation because they're not exactly some niche publishing house. So I don't know. I think no
they made
idea.
Some more games. Yeah.
I hear they went on to make a few games after this. Yeah. So.
I did see there was a manga as well for this.
Yes.
Which
yes, there was.
I'm kind of interested in, but I feel like it won't hit the same if I'm not trying to communicate unless they added like a choose your own adventure element to it or something.
You know, to tell you the truth, if we ever talk about, you know what, I'm going to go order those, you know, and see what's up. Because frankly, I know it won't hit the same way. You know, when things switch media, they often don't. But I just want to see what the art looks like. Kind of,
Yeah. I have
Mhm.
high expectations for it, I feel like.
this would have made a good anime series.
Oh, yeah.
I would watch that. Or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe the interactive part really is the selling point.
It's
though.
compelling. I think it really is compelling.
Mhm.
I did not enjoy as much watching someone else play this game as playing it myself.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're watching that, you're like, you know, they're doing it their way.
It was fun to like strategize together. We're like, you'd be looking up something and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to try this in the meantime. And now, yeah, it was fun.
I should let my daughter play this. I wonder what she'd think. You know, like totally different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, and
See-
she could play and she speaks Japanese fluently, so she could play it in the original.
Yeah, I would be curious. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I wanted to throw this in there. You mentioned it before
Sure.
we started, but I feel like this is worth pointing out because it was an early game.
Yeah.
It came with a controller pack, which
Yes, it did.
another reoccurring theme on our show has been like a lot of these games we're getting take up so much space on a controller pack, but a lot of them it's for maybe more superfluous stuff. But like,
Yep.
I can understand why early on, like you would want to sell this game with a controller pack because it is so vital to it. You're like you said, you're not going to beat this in a rental or anything like that.
This is a 72 pages of memory is what it would take for a save. So yeah, I've been told that like they much like when Animal Crossing came out on the GameCube, it came with a memory card.
It's like you absolutely need it.
Because if you don't have one of those, you can't play this game. And even if you already have one, you'd have to delete everything else from your pack. So like you're gonna need one for this. You're gonna basically need a dedicated one for this game, and that's why it comes with a sticker. It is a regular Nintendo memory pack. It's not a Enix branded one. The only thing that differentiates it is that there's a sticker in this box.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I love that.
But the thing is, getting a complete one like this is a little hard these days because people, you know, they took the pack out, you know, after they beat the game, they used it for something else. They, you know, it's hard to find a complete one these days. It took me a while to track down, but this is not that hard of a game to get if you just want a cartridge, like the loose cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it for under $10. I think. What is it on my site right now? I think it's like at the time of this recording, I think I've got a copy up there for like $6. You know,
use the code flashback64.
Oh, and then you'll get it for like $5 and change. Yeah. But like, well, that's the copy that I have right now. My prices are based on how much, because I do my shopping in person. I go to different game shops and I buy stuff. So the prices fluctuate by how much I had to. You know, so if I get a good deal, you get a good deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like some of the best prices I have are like when a store's going out of business, I just buy everything and then I list it real. But if it's something where I can't get it easily, but right now, it's like $6 on the site. So
that's amazing.
But like I think like for anybody who like emulation is probably the way to play this right now. You know what I mean? Because it would be very hard to play it if you don't speak Japanese, or even if you do like myself, but don't speak it at a comfortable level, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if this game had voice acting, I think I could probably do it in Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But reading is much slower for me and it's more aggravating, you know? So like, but like, it's definitely worth playing. And if you want to do it guilt-free, just pick up a copy of the actual cartridge. You can put that on your shelf. It looks great. And then, you know, patch the, you know, obviously if you have the means, use that actual cartridge, pull the data from it, patch it up and play it on whatever, you know, but like, I think it's a cute cart as well. Looks really good on a shelf. You know what I mean?
The art, I mean, you get the art on the cartridge too. And
it's really nice. It's really nice.
If you could find one of the manuals, the manuals sounds amazing.
The manual's really nice too. The manual's full color, you know, quite lengthy. And I miss manuals. I miss manuals so much.
We're going to throw a couple plugs here towards the end on our podcast. network, the Soundstone Podcast Network, we just brought upon the show Instruction Derby that our friend Nick McConnell hosts every Wednesday at
know
noon
Nick.
Pacific. He reads game manuals. I know he's bought some stuff from you.
Yeah.
So people go check that out. But yeah, that's a strong recommendation, I think, from all of us, right? For Wonder Project J2.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that anybody who can deal with the only people who might not like it are people who don't appreciate the anime aesthetic.
Yeah.
Because it's very anime, and it's tropey in that way too. She's clumsy and she's, but I don't know. It's so charming.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you have a soul, you'll probably enjoy this game.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Nick McConnell, and you caught me reading the instruction booklet for Street Fighter II in preparation for my weekly stream Instruction Derby, where I take a look at the creative, fun, and sometimes bizarre lost art of video game manuals. Did you know that, according to the manual for Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo, Ryu was born in 1964, making him 62 years young, canonically? Happy birthday, Ryu. You're looking great. Did you also know that, per the manual for Laser Invasion on the Nintendo, the UN enters a conclave in order to select a new commando? Or did you know that the dancing enemies in Super Castlevania are named Paula Abgul and Fred Askare? These important facts and many more are discovered every Wednesday at noon Pacific on Instruction Derby over at internet website twitch.tv/Nick McConnell. Part of the Soundstone Network.
Vinnk, thank you so much for
thank you for having me.
Pointing us towards this game.
Yeah.
It was great to actually talk to you. This has kind of been one we had talked about for months and months, because I wanted to make sure to give this game. I knew it was going to be, it's not too long, but I knew it was going to be kind of an investment. So I wanted to make sure we actually played it, and I'm glad we got to fully take it in. So thank you for suggesting this.
Not at all. I was, we started talking about this, 6 months ago, 8 months, a long time back, and and thanks for constantly reminding me about it, because it's a busy life, and I'm so glad you didn't just let this one go, and we actually wound up finding a time and recording this. This has been really fun.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you knew that I didn't forget about it. I was just I didn't want to rush this, because honestly, half the game, actually over 3/4 of the game, games we have to prepare for it. You could do it in a day,
Oh yeah,
but this is a meaty game.
There's not many like that on the N64. There's definitely games where there's unlockables, and there's you can build up your technique and you can get better, but this is a game that the game doesn't even open up until hours into it. You don't even quite know what type of game you're playing at first.
Yeah. It's in the grand scheme of video games, it's probably not that big of an investment, but for an N64 game, it's worth the time investment, I would say.
Yeah. I can think of only a handful of games that have this type of time investment on this system.
Well, we mentioned it up top, but you want to promote anything?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. If you want to watch videos of a much younger me with more hair, you can go to our YouTube channel, Famicom Dojo. Just search for Famicom Dojo. It'll be the first, and we started that about almost 20 years ago now,
that's amazing.
Crazy. These days we occasionally still we got a video we're bringing out in a couple of weeks, but a lot of it I stream a couple times a month usually on Famicom Dojo Live. And the setup is mainly my camera aimed at my TV. So it's a very
awesome.
But but I do it. But the listeners can't see, but like I've got a wall of various games behind me now, and the format is basically I choose a system and I just play whatever people want to see.
That's great.
And just kind of the idea of not I never beat a game in the stream ever, but it's just seeing a bunch of different things, kind of getting an idea of what can be played by someone who doesn't speak Japanese, what's out there, and kind of exploring. Like we did MSX a little while ago. That's a Japanese computer. So for a lot of people, they've never seen one before. And the PCFX we were talking about earlier in the show, I'm going to do that coming up fairly soon. So just let people see some of these libraries that they've never even heard of before. So it's fun. And I got the store, obviously. I used to write for other websites and magazines and things, but those have kind of gone away. I used to be part of Four Color Rebellion,
Nice.
which was a game and comics site. But go there anyway. The people there are still awesome. But I don't really do anything there anymore. Anything else?
Just check them out in general. Yeah,
just check them out in general. But like, what do we do? And yeah, Japan Retro Direct. I'm on Blue Sky.
Yes.
I guess I'm still registered to Twitter, but Blue Sky is where I do most of my content these days. Find me at Vinnk or Famicom Dojo. Vinnk is spelled with 2 N's, Vinnk, or just go through the Japan Retro Direct. But
awesome.
I post about my life in Japan. If you go to any of those things, I usually link the other stuff that I do. So just go to one thing, and if you're not sick of me by that point, there's more lore behind me. So
dig deeper.
Dig deeper.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you. We can talk about whatever you want, but I feel like we could talk about more N64 games in the future, more Japan exclusive games, stuff like that. It'd be a lot of fun.
I'd be happy to. I do enjoy talking, as probably I'm looking at the amount of time this podcast is right now, and I apologize to any of your listeners. It went a little off track, but I've enjoyed it a lot.
We get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It always happens. Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess people should go, like I mentioned, the network. Check out soundstone.network for all of that. You can find us, flashback64.com, has all of our stuff. Special thanks to our Triforce tier patron, Lee. Lee, who's also basically our clip master over on Twitch. So shout out to Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee, for, I guess, unpaid clipping. But he's on the ball. He's always on it. McKenna, great job.
Good job, you.
And we'll see everybody else later. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, my name's Darren Hupke. I'm a writer, publisher, and podcaster. My podcast is called Pixels and Polygons. Each week I sit down with a guest and ask one simple video game question. It's a random topic each week and it leads to a fun conversation. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform every Friday, and you can read more about it at pixelsandpolygons.net.